Hello and welcome to Nolan Financial Radio. My name is Chris McKinney from Nolan Financial Partners. If you'd like more information about what you hear during our show today, give us a call at 719-210-4242 or visit us online at nolanfinancialpartners.com. And while at our website, click on the radio page, check out our past shows, and you can subscribe to our program on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or Amazon Music. As we head into the final stretch of 2025, a lot of people are reflecting on what the past year has brought and what the next one might hold. So maybe you've been thinking about making big life changes, like when to finally step away from the 9 to 5 and start enjoying retirement, the retirement that you've worked so hard for. But deciding when to retire is a deeply personal choice, and timing can make a difference in your financial confidence and long-term comfort. So today we're going to talk about a few signs that retiring in 2026 might not be the best move, and why giving yourself just one more year on the job could set you up for a smoother, more secure transition in retirement. So, I read that some people plan to ease into retirement by cutting back to part-time hours. I tried to do that once, and my boss called it showing up late. And you know who my boss is? It's Tara. Her name is Tara Nolan, and I'm married to
her. She's your wife, which means she's your boss in all aspects of life.
That's right. So I want to introduce you to my co-host, Tony Shore, who you just heard his voice, and he's been easing in retirement for about 10 years now. I don't know how long it's going to take him to get there, but he loves being on the radio, so I don't think he'll ever retire in my lifetime.
No. As long as my voice holds out and somebody will have me, I'm going to keep doing this. And but you're right, Chris. A lot of people are asking that question: is now the right time to retire, or do I need to wait? So I can't wait to dig into that. But first, for our viewers out there, they see the festive video you've got up with Santa's on vacation. That's crazy.
Santa's on vacation.
Looks like Santa found an island somewhere. It looks like he's in Hawaii or...
He's done his work and he's on vacation.
Yes, exactly. That's great. Well, as we head into the holiday season here, I know you're kind of winding down after your busy time of the year.
Right.
You've been keeping really busy, and I know that both you and Tara, of course, Tara's always busy. She's got a lot of irons in the fire, and you guys have been helping so many people out in the area with their finances. And that's why I'm looking forward to the show. But how have you been? Are you done with all your Christmas shopping? Are you completely ready for Christmas?
What,
Chris?
You mean it's Christmas time? Oh. I better get busy.
Yeah, you might want to think about that. Yeah.
So Tara and I just kind of get together and say, I want this for Christmas. Okay, I want this for Christmas. Okay, let's go buy it.
Yeah. When you reach a certain age, I think that's what happens. That's what I do. And so that's what my wife and I do.
Only sometimes we'll do some wrap stuff, but that's what we do. But I am working on getting my Christmas gifts for my mother and my sister, my little brother, and my sister's family. So I'm working on it.
Not done yet. Okay. Yeah.
Not done yet.
Wow. Okay.
So if you hear this after Christmas, then I'll have done
it. Hopefully. Well, we'll wait and see. Hopefully you will have. Yeah. That's good. That's good. So the topic you picked today, it's an interesting one because you need to know when you can retire. So what are we talking about? I know you said you saw an article that had some good points in it too.
Yeah, I read an article from USA Today, 3 signs you should wait another year before retiring. And so, there's no guaranteed magic number for how much money you're going to have, you're going to need in retirement, right? So, but everybody's situation is different. You've got your lifestyle, your health, where you live, what you like to do when you're going to be in retirement. Are you going to do something that costs a lot of money, or are you going to do simple things like go for local hikes, or are you just going to garden in the backyard? But gardening is probably more expensive than hiking now I think about it.
Sure.
Fertilizer and plants and all that stuff. Anyway, but a simple way to check your progress is to kind of estimate how much income you're going to need every year. Okay, and then you take off your Social Security benefits and any other pensions or anything else that kind of pulls that number down, and then so now you subtracted what you're going to need from what you're going to get guaranteed already, and then so there's a difference. Then multiply that difference by 25, and that's a good ballpark for how much you should have in retirement savings. So here's an example. So if you need $60,000 a year in retirement, Social Security will cover 24,000 of that. That leaves $36,000 a year that needs to come from your retirement savings. So multiply that 36,000 by 25, and you're looking at roughly $900,000 in savings. That may sound like a lot, but seek out your financial planner, your investment advisor, so maybe we can make 500,000 look like 900,000 in retirement. So there's ways to kind of do that by doing things judiciously and extend the money that you do have. So don't take that number as hey, this is what I have to have. Just think that that's a guide. It's a rough guide.
Yeah. Well, so if you've hit that target, great. But if you're falling short, that's going to be a sign that you're not quite ready to clock out for good then.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Tony. So it's worth running the numbers to see where you stand. If your nest egg isn't as large as you'd hope, working one more year could make a huge difference. One, you won't be spending that money for that year, and two, you'll save another $23,000 in your 401k plus the matching from your company or whatever it is. So that might be a whole nother year you gain from working another year in money, and then a whole nother year you gain because you didn't have to spend it. So you gain 2 years by working one. So that's kind of how we look at that is, if working that extra year is going to give you a lot more fun in retirement, let's go ahead and work that extra year.
Yeah. So yeah, that's really good. And I think so even if the numbers aren't exactly where you want them right now, a little patience, a little more time in the workforce can really pay off down the line. And as my mom always says, patience is a virtue for which I can hardly wait. I always like that one. Now, the next sign that retiring in 2026 might not be ideal is if you're not yet eligible for Medicare, because there's that gap. If you retire early, like at 62, you're going to have a gap to when Medicare kicks in, and you're going to have to fund your entire healthcare or health insurance, and that's expensive, isn't it?
That's a very expensive proposition to fund your own healthcare.
Yeah.
So that what they call them COBRA plans or bridges.
Yeah.
So I've had a few clients who retired at 63 and they had to get a 2-year COBRA plan, and it can cost it cost him like $25,000 for the 2 years.
So expensive.
So I don't know what it'll cost you because their plans and their contracts with healthcare companies, but you've got to be prepared that it's a very costly coverage gap. And so typically Medicare starts for everybody at age 65. So if you turn 64 in 2026, you're really close, but you've still got that 1 year to bridge. So make sure that you incorporate that into your plan. If you're going to retire before age 65, before you're eligible for Medicare.
Yeah, and that 1 year can be surprisingly expensive. And then some people want to retire earlier, so they have even longer. So if you're planning on retiring soon and you're not 65, you got to think of these things. And you mentioned COBRA, that's not cheap. Or going through the marketplace or the exchange, the Affordable Care Act, the costs there are going up in 2026. So that's
the advantage of COBRA is that it's an extension of your workplace benefits.
Yeah.
That's what we talk about. We're talking about COBRA, which is great because you don't have to qualify for it. But
Right.
if you go through purchase your own through the marketplace, you may have some qualifications there.
Sure. Sure. So there are advantages to Cobra, but again, expensive.
Expensive.
Yeah, yeah. So if you're just a year away from that Medicare milestone,
Yes,
working for one more year until you're officially eligible, that could save you a lot of money and stress, right?
that's right. And it's not to say the Medicare is free because there's premiums, deductibles, and copays for that too. But you're staying under your workplace health care, so you're not having that cost, and then you're not having maybe that bridge cost. So it's a really good thing to do to watch what you're spending for health care, because that it quickly becomes the most expensive thing that you have to pay when you're in retirement is your health care.
Yeah.
um, because you start working down that home mortgage, and
Mhm.
maybe you bought it 15 years ago, and so your mortgage is like $1,000 a month. So it depends, everything is dependent on your lifestyle, your health, and then how you feel about working a little bit more, right?
Yeah. Well, and we've talked about savings and then healthcare, but this next one's a little more personal. It's when you realize you have no idea what you'll actually do with all your time in retirement.
Yeah, this is tricky because people really often focus on the financial side of retirement. Now, when people come into my office, probably about the third question I ask them is, "What do you plan to do in retirement?" If they don't have an answer, then maybe you should wait. Right?
Right.
So if you don't know what you're going to do in retirement, you need to start thinking about it. There's a whole emotional and mental side of retiring that's very important. I remember when my father retired, the first year he was kind of moping around and didn't
Mhm.
do a whole lot. And so he'd go over to a friend's house and have coffee once or twice a week, but it's about all he did. So once he was through that first year, then he started finding things to do and started becoming more active, and he was happier. But that first year is a huge adjustment period. And so if you don't have something that is going to start, uh, you know, free time sounds great, but after a while, how are you going to fill it? You're going to get tired of Netflix. I promise. I promise.
Yeah. Well, and because after that first few weeks of sleeping in, catching up on shows,
Yeah,
reading books, you might start thinking,
right.
well, now what? I mean, a lot of people say, I'm going to golf every day. Well, that's great. But at some point, you're going
Yeah,
to hit a wall. You can't golf every day. At least golf gets you up and out of the house.
right,
And you have tea times, so it's better than I know I love books and TV shows, right? I love
right.
to read.
Me
I'm
too.
I'm people think when I'm retired, I'm gonna catch up on all those books, I'm gonna binge watch shows, but that's not a plan for retirement. You need to have
No,
more of a purpose, and you need to get out and socialize and stay
right,
active too. So, you have to have a plan for retirement, you
right.
know?
So you start thinking about hobbies that you like to do a while ago that you ran out of time for as
Yeah.
life moved on. Maybe pick some of those back up. Start looking for volunteer opportunities, right? So you can get some socialization in, and you can meet some new people, some other people that are in the same kind of boat you are, that might want to go have a cup of coffee once a week. Or there's I have some clients, they pick a side hustle, and so
Yep.
they make this little company, and then they start turning out little widgets or whatever, and that those part-time projects really start being fulfilling, and maybe they make a little money off of it. I've got some full-time retirees, and they have an RV, so they have started um, planning trips for people, right? And so they're planning their own RV trip. They said, huh, we've planned this. It was a lot of work. But we know everything now for all the places we're going to go or stay. So we've got this whole, circle tour going. Why don't we invite other people along and then we'll kind of sell them the plan for a few bucks to make a little money. And then we'll go with them and guide them through stuff and show them the sites and stuff and things like that. So that's what they're doing. How much fun would that be, right?
Yeah.
Helping people see things they've never seen and seeing it through their eyes. I think that's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, and that's a great point. Retirement isn't just about stepping away from something. It's
No.
about stepping toward something else. It's not the end. It's really a new beginning.
Yes.
And you have to look at it that way. And for a lot of people, it's a third of their life. So you got to get out there and have a plan and do things and then make the best of it, right?
Yeah. So when was it in 1960, people lived to be 69, and now in 2017, people live to be 79. So a 10-year change over that period, and
Right.
our expected our life expectancy is growing
Yep. It
as
is.
we go through time. And so, well, if I expected to pass in 30 years, will that life expectancy extend another 10 years? So it'll be, instead of 79, maybe it's 89.
Hmm.
I don't know, but you got to prepare for a longer retirement than maybe you might think.
Yeah, yeah, you do, and I think a lot of people need to realize that retirement might be a little further away than they originally planned, but you're not alone,
Yes.
right? I mean,
No,
you're
they're
not
not alone.
alone in that. Let's take a moment here, Chris, to let our listeners know how they can get a hold of you if they have questions or they want to know, can I retire next year or do I need to work a couple more years? I know you can look at their situation, talk to them about their goals, and run some reports. You have reports you can run to really help hone in on this and help them see where they're at, get a second opinion on their current finances, and then get a solid retirement income plan in place, right?
That's right. So we have reports on Social Security so that you can pick the best time for that. That can become a big part of whether you're going to start retirement now or later. There's reports that we can do of what your money looks like and going down the road. If we put it in our big calculator and say, if you want to have $120,000 a year, this is how long the money you have will last. Right. So there's some value to that. Right. So please give us a call, 719-210-4242. We'll set up a complimentary consultation. We usually do those on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. If you need another time, that's okay. Just give us a call. We'll set up that complimentary consultation, 719-210-4242. Check our website out. It's we think it's pretty. NolanFinancialPartners.com. Got lots of good information there as well.
Yeah, you've got a great website with a lot of resources. I encourage our listeners and viewers out there to check it out. Now, we're talking about do you need to wait to retire? Can you
Right.
retire when you want or early? Or are you going to have to work a year or two more? Where are we at with this? What else do you want to talk about here today, Chris?
So I read another article from Investopedia. It was titled "Thinking of Delaying Your Retirement? You're Not Alone. Most people over 50 are pushing it back." Right. So a lot of people are, when they start working, they start making goals. I'm going to retire when I'm 52. I'm going to retire when I'm 55. And then they get up there and it's like, maybe not. So it's for anyone who's thinking about retiring early. They want to retire early. So maybe they say, oh, I want to retire at 61. And then you ask them, well, when do you think you're really going to retire? And they'll say 69.
Yeah,
Right. So
exactly. There's a gap there between when we'd like to retire and when we think we're
actually
going to be able to. Yeah.
expect to do
Yeah.
that. So, and so the younger generations are thinking kind of along those lines that they're going to be 70 years old before they can retire.
Wow.
And they may be right, because what's going to happen to Social Security over time? Is it going to be pushed back? as our, we start living longer. Are they going to have to push it back? So there's lots of reasons to delay retirement for any adult over 50. It really comes down to savings. You've got to reach your target number, and then you also have to account for all the time that you're not going to be working.
Yeah.
So because if you retire at 50 and you live to be 79, as the current life expectancy is, well, that's a long time. That's 29 years,
almost 30 years. Yeah,
almost 30 years. You got to plan for, and you don't want to run out of money, because running out of money is not fun.
Right. But if you do, if you do have to stay in the workforce a little longer, it's not necessarily a setback. It's a strategy, right?
It's a strategy, right? And so, the other parts are like health and lifestyle goals, if you want to stay active. So, delaying retirement can help you give more options for reaching all those goals, so that, but still be able to be mobile and moving and doing things fun in retirement, right?
Yeah.
Whatever you want to do there.
Right. And we've talked about how and why people might delay retirement, but you alluded to this, different generations, but who's actually delaying retirement?
So who's actually delaying retirement right now is the boomers.
Yep.
and right now, so they're starting to move their retirement up a little bit so they can get that full retirement age. And so their full retirement age is maybe 67. I mean, they're starting to look at that 8% bump in Social Security every year after 67. They're like, well, if I just waited another 3 years, I would get 8% times 3 more dollars every month. And so that would be beneficial to a retirement.
Yeah. But there's a gap across the generations, right? I mean, from when these generations hope to retire, but when they versus when they actually can or expect to be able to retire.
Yeah. So everybody would like to retire before 64.
Right.
But they expect to retire around 70. That's kind of the current, our generation. That's what we're all looking at is we'd like to retire at 64. So that's like 6-year gap, right?
Yeah.
But then when you look back at, the younger generations right now, they have that about a 9-year gap. They want to retire at 61, but they think they're going to retire about 70.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how that works. The younger you are, the earlier you want to retire,
right?
But the later you think you're going to retire,
right? So every generation's dream retirement age is about 6 to 8 years earlier than reality, is what you're saying.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I mean, we don't know reality for them. Who knows? Maybe
right. Their perceived reality.
We'll have universal income, and everybody will be retired. AI will take over all the work, and we won't have to do nothing.
I don't think that'll be good. Did you ever see the movie WALL-E?
No, I didn't.
Oh, that's what that whole movie's about.
Really?
Is technology and advanced society, robots and AI taking over all the duties. And so people become really fat and really lazy and just float around on these hover things drinking beverages all day. They're just everybody's got their beverages and they're just drinking.
Nothing but high fructose corn syrup.
So that's WALL-E. It's WALL-E. It was a Pixar, I believe, movie.
Is it back in the Disney 80s or 90s or something?
That was early 2000s, I think, or late 90s, early 2000s. WALL-E,
I was busy then.
You were well. You're always busy, Chris. That's the thing. You're always busy. So we've covered who's delaying retirement, but let's talk about why.
So the motivations really vary, right? So
Right.
why would you delay retirement? Well, about a third will delay retirement because they want to maintain purpose. They enjoy their work, they enjoy the people they work with, and they want to have that sense of purpose of getting up and getting to that job, or even if it's a home job, having that accountability of a job, of doing something, and then they also feel good about what they're doing. Maybe they're a firefighter, maybe they're a police person, or who knows what they are. They're they have a sense of purpose, right? Now there's 42% say they enjoy the challenge of work. So maybe that challenge is doing good things. That's why I'm going to continue to work, because I like the challenge of figuring out people's puzzles. And so about half think that they have financial concerns, or they want to have more flexibility. So they delay retirement so they can buff up those finances. And so, okay, I need 900,000. Well, let's go ahead and make 1.1 million in that nest egg. And now I've got a nice buffer. And so that helps them, give them more flexibility in retirement, if they're not trying to stretch those dollars so much.
Right. And that's true. I think it's really important to look at the big picture, right?
Right.
And also look at lifestyle versus finance. It's not always about finance. You have to have a purpose. And I think that after decades of working, it can be hard to suddenly step away from all that structure, the goals. And I think social connections are huge, right? I mean,
Social connections are huge.
yeah, yeah. So some people, not everybody's delaying retirement because they have to. Some genuinely want to keep working.
That's right. They want to contribute and be part of society and do those things. And they feel like when they retire, it kind of becomes all about them, which it should be, because that's what retirement is.
Yeah.
Because you're the only one you have to please then.
Yeah, exactly. Well, hey, guess what? We're already out of time.
Oh,
It
wow.
just, yeah, it flew by. So before we go, Chris, let our listeners out there know what you're offering. I mean, you talked about some reports you could run, a no charge, no obligation consultation.
Yeah. So we do that no charge complimentary consultation. And we can go ahead and run that Social Security report that tells you what you'll get for each year that you delay, or what the exact time is. It'll come up with the time. We almost always adjust that for people's lifestyle and their desires a little bit, but it gives us something to move from, right? You got to start with a goal. Then, okay, let me move the goal a little bit. And so that really helps us create a goal for when we should retire, and when we should start our Social Security, and how our Social Security folds in. Delaying retirement, you can get catch up contributions into your 401ks. So if you're not eligible for that, talk to me. I'll show you how you are. Please give us a call, 719-210-4242, to set up that complimentary consultation to help create more financial adaptability in retirement.
Well, and that's so great that you're offering this, Chris, to our listeners and viewers out there. I encourage you all. Chris loves to hear from you, don't you, Chris? So
Yes, I do.
give him a call, ask questions. I know you and Tara do such a great job. You've helped so many people here in the community with their finances and their retirement plans. And be sure, when can I retire? Am
Yes.
I able to retire? Can I retire early? How much do I need to retire? This is what you do. That's why you need a trusted financial services professional who's going to look at the big picture. And that does it for today's episode of Nolan Financial Radio with our host, Chris McKinney.
Join us again next time for another great episode of Nolan Financial Radio.